Body shops. Did you know that if your website is not ADA compliant, you can get a fat lawsuit on your hands? Yikes. On today's episode of Body Banging, we're having somebody come on that talks with us about an easy way to make your website ADA compliant, very inexpensive, and the benefit to all of it, besides not having to pay out a lawsuit, is you get to help people with disabilities traverse your website and potentially help them fix their vehicle. It's a win-win. Stay tuned for more.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Body Banging Podcast. And I am really excited today to talk about something that I think is super important. And I will share with you that when I owned my auto body shop, even though it was like 15 years ago, we had what was called ambulance chasers, basically like people going around trying to find a reason to sue us. And at that point in time, it was parking lot spaces. That was the big thing in Los Angeles, California, where I own my shop. Van Nuys specifically. So today we're talking with my buddy Refael over at accessiBe. Hi, Refael.
Hey.
And Refael works with accessiBe, like I said, and what they do is they make your website friendly for people with any type of issues, right? Any ADD compliant.
ADA compliant. So there's
ADA.
Yeah.
That one. There's just so many letters for so many things.
I'll get into it.
Yeah.
Just kidding,
you even have your own set. And in our industry, we have our own set. But the reason why this all kind of came onto my radar is I started having calls from body shops who were actually hearing from other body shop friends and owners that their shop had been in litigation because their site was not ADA compliant. And so people were calling me in a panic, like, what do we do? And so I started personally looking into different options for my shops that I work with. And one of the things that I found was accessiBe. And now my clients that I work with, I always recommend they use accessiBe. So we're going to talk about why they need to have a site that's ADA compliant and what exactly accessiBe does for the website. We'll talk about costs and all that kind of stuff. But Refael's been with accessiBe for about 2.5 years now. He's been in the tech industry for a really long time. You'll hear when he talks, he knows what he's talking about. Kind of, sort of. Yeah. So why don't you tell us real quick, so I don't give the whole spiel myself, but why is it that body shops specifically, or really any industry, would want to have their website ADA compliant? What does that even mean for the people listening and are like, what, who, what, when, why, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for that intro. Really expansive for sure. So thank you for having me. I'm Refael. As far as ADA compliance, right? ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act. So legally speaking, everybody has to be equally accessible to people with disabilities, because if you're not, it's discrimination, right? And It's 2021 coming up on 2022. Nobody wants to discriminate. Mm-hmm. That being said, it's not just a compliance matter. Although, to be totally fair, there are almost 300,000 demand letters sent to American businesses every year about this, and thousands upon thousands of settlements paid. Actually, let me give you a really quick story that actually happened to me. The last time I left my zip code with this wonderful Corona fun time that we're all living through still, was last February. I was in Vegas giving a talk about accessibility of all things. Mm-hmm. And somebody interrupted me about halfway through the presentation and said he owns 60 locations of a payday loan company. So I said, well, you're probably not a great person, but that's a different conversation, because payday loans, I don't know why 3,000% interest is legal in the United States of America, but that's another conversation. Yeah. So he gets a demand letter, or claims to, for $10,000, right? Saying basically, hey, your website's not accessible to people with disabilities. Pay us 10 grand or we'll take you to court. He calls his lawyer because he's never heard of this before, right? So lawyer explains to him, hey, it's what's known as a strict liability law. Because you weren't compliant when they made the complaint, it's very hard for me to defend this. We can take it to court and you'll pay me like $100,000 in legal fees over a year and a half and then still need to pay them a settlement. Or you can pay them the money and then get the rest of your websites accessible ASAP, because he said he has 60 locations. He has a domain for each location. So writes a check, starts looking into accessibility. The day the check clears, he gets 59 more letters and has to settle for $600,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that kind of thing happens all the time, but very rarely do you get a business owner who's willing to talk about it, because number one, of course, they're embarrassed. And number two, they really don't want to get sued again. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's hard to stop somebody from getting that kind of letter or getting that kind of lawsuit. So preemptive compliance is really the only way that you can protect yourself from something like this. And that's what we do here at accessiBe. Rather than do this manually, which, not to get too deep into it, but if you have a human developer go in and make your website accessible, it's going to take you hours and hours and hours, and you're going to have to rehire them every time you change your website, which happens from time to time. And it's going to cost you between $5,000 and $50,000 a year. Most people don't pay that for their whole website. Right. So it's not really feasible for most business owners to do that. Yeah. We realized accessibility can't be widespread, and it should be widespread, of course, because people with disabilities deserve access to the internet. Yeah. It can't possibly be widespread until it's automated, affordable, and simple enough for the average business owner to do it on their own. And so that's what we did. That's what we made. We have an automated system. We use AI. I won't get into the AI, but here's the best way to explain it. Rather than have a human developer spend all their hours and time and frustration and charge you all this money to do the work, we taught a robot to do it. And the robot does not eat, it does not sleep, and it does not complain until Terminator happens, and then we got bigger problems. So that's basically how our system works in a nutshell. There's a lot of components to compliance, and it's certainly not as simple as just saying like, boom, you're done. But this is a really great way to make sure that people will be able to use your website. And this is half the problem, because half of it's compliance and legal requirements and all that. The other side is there's a big community of people out there that want to use your website, that want to buy your services, you know, have their cars worked on, whatever it may be. But right now they can't get to you. Right. And even though it seems like a relatively small number of people, because most of us don't interact with people with disabilities on a daily basis, for better or for worse. Right. It's actually pretty big. According to the CDC, 26% of American adults live with a disability. Wow. Even if you cut that down to like 5% of people who really have trouble using websites, if you could expand your market share by 5% for $50 a month, I don't know many business owners that wouldn't be interested, you know? Yeah, absolutely. Well, and one thing that I loved about it and looking at all the different options, because for my clients' websites, I was thinking about doing that, is having my developer go in and make it compliant so I can verify and validate what you are saying, the time that it would take. And time is money. So the cost would just be astronomical. So the joy of all of this, and for all of you listening, is the accessiBe does it on its own. So for a body shop owner, you can have your office manager, whoever, sign you up for it. And accessiBe just runs through the site and makes it compatible without changing the way that you would see the website as just a normal peruser of a website. So I love it because for my clients, it's easy peasy. They sign up and it's done. And like, you know, they get their, I think it's a monthly report that everything is ADA compliant. So if they ever get a letter from somebody, a demand letter, there is documentation showing that it was compliant at the time of any type of issue. So I just like it because it's so easy, but it does a really important job, like you were just saying, for the people out there that potentially can't read a regular website or peruse a regular website in the way that we take for granted that we can. How nice to be able to open it up to them. And I don't know many body shops out there right now that have ADA compliant sites, unless somebody close to them has said like, hey, I just got sued. I just had to make this massive settlement check. So I want to talk, the reason why I've got you on today is I want to talk about this before you get that letter.
before you're in that
Definitely.
position, just like that story you were sharing.
You don't want to be that guy. Trust me, you do not want to be that guy.
No, nobody wants to be that guy.
Be that guy.
Which goes back to like my parking space issue. I wanted to fix my parking spots before they came and drove into my parking lot and then sued me because I had one too many parking spots. Like I let's get ahead of it. And for such a nominal fee, why the heck not? So Can you just share with us? I think it's really cool because there are a lot of people that I'm actually going to put a link in the show notes so you can go check out accessiBe, and there'll be a link in there where you can sign up. You can just sign up. It's like $50 a month. It just auto drafts out of your account. I'll put my affiliate link in there. And so you can use my link to go and sign up. But can you just share with them, for those that haven't had a chance to kind of check it out, because there's so many things that you don't realize.
So many features.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Because like when we talk about accessibility online, even the people who've heard about it a little bit, they'll say, oh, that's for blind people, right? And yes, right. It is. But there's a huge number of other disabilities that impact your using the internet as well. Everything from some people are motor impaired. They may be quadriplegic or not have the use of their arms or hands like others might. And they will use a different assistive technology, whether it's a click stick or there's actually a really cool startup that I always try to shout out, 6 Degrees, because I ran into them. Mentioned I used to be in tech before this.
Yes.
I ran into them at a pitch competition years ago, and I was sure like, wow, they're really going to succeed. And they have this really, really cool device. It's like an armband. And it was really helpful for people who have disorders that cause their hands to shake a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It learns your particular disorder and learns your shaking patterns so that it's able to tell when you're moving, when you're intentionally moving your arm, and it moves the mouse along with your arm.
Wow.
And it lets somebody who otherwise might not be able to control a computer, control a computer. So regardless of what kind of assistive technology you're using, ours can work with it and let you use a computer more conveniently. But it's really not just for what we would consider to be disabilities. There's ADHD adjustments. There's adjustments for people who might just need a slightly bigger font. There's also an online dictionary that can define words for people who might have Alzheimer's. Sure. They might also speak English as a second or third language, and their money is still the right color. They just might come from somewhere else. And I know, being an American who has emigrated to a new country, I can tell you that a lot of us inherently view people who don't speak English that well as potentially, less than in some cases. But coming from the other country where I had to learn another language, I can tell you it's not that easy. And a lot of people, they're very, very smart in their native language. It's hard to speak a second or third one.
Totally.
So it's important to cater to them as well.
Yep.
And I'll also add, like, generally speaking, as the owner of a failed e-commerce store, I can tell you, if you want to sell anything online, you need to make it as easy as humanly possible for everyone to use your website.
Yeah.
And disability or no, accessiBe helps with that. Like being able to change all of the colors on the fly as needed, that's really convenient no matter who you are. Or having a built-in night mode like we have. It's really helpful for people who need more severe contrast. It's also just nice for the average user to have a night mode, right? So a lot of the changes that are nominally for accessibility purposes are also really desirable in general as features for a website to have. And again, I'll just reiterate, like, you want to make your website as friendly a place as possible for every visitor that comes in.
Yeah.
Because it's in many cases the first experience somebody will have with your brand.
Totally.
So the last thing you want is for somebody to feel like you're not addressing them directly. And I'll go even further and say that, like, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people with disabilities and from our clients who've said that, hey, when I find something that is accessible, particularly in an industry like this, that is traditionally not accessible to them, they're not just going to come back the next time they need work done. They're going to put up a post on Facebook, in a WhatsApp group, wherever, and share with all their friends who have these disabilities. Hey, this body shop really cares about people like us. If you need your van worked on, and probably, again, that's going to be a bigger project because that's a custom van with an elevator and everything. It's a more intense project. They're going to bring them right to you because they know that you care about them. And I know it sounds like a little bit of a San Francisco thing to say, but it is true that, addressing these people directly will make them want to work with you more and sort of create a positive community around your brand.
Absolutely. 100%. Hey, would you like to increase the number of cars in your drive? Well, look no further. The Mickey Woods marketing team provides collision center specific marketing. We use proven techniques to not only increase your sales, but put money in your pocket. Visit us at collisioncentermarketing.com, or you can find my personal contact information in the show notes. And let's get your 2022 off to a body banging start. I think that, we're in the industry of helping people, and this is another way that we can help people and, another layer of it. So I think it's a beautiful thing. The more and that's why I've got you on here. It's something that means a lot to me. And we're not just doing business. Doing what we do in the automotive industry for me is very emotional. It's very personal. We deal with people that are in very traumatic experiences, and being sensitive to that, making sure their vehicles are repaired correctly. And sometimes we forget about these types of things that I think are just are equally as important. And then one thing I wanted to bring up also is people are probably wondering, well, how would somebody know if my website is compliant or not? And one thing that I like about accessiBe is right when you go on there, and you can adjust the settings, but one thing when you go on is there's typically a little round symbol, and you can pick what you want in the symbol, but it's a person like in a wheelchair, or like just a guy standing, a person standing there.
A human. Yeah.
Yeah, a human, whatever. So there's different things. It's just like a little icon. And so somebody, you or I might, well, not you, because you're in this, but listeners would look at the site and not think anything about it. But somebody that needs that would see that symbol and be like, awesome, great. And they would know exactly what to do to be able to utilize the things on the site, because they click that little button icon, whatever you want to call it, and it opens up this myriad of options, and then they can make the website perfectly friendly for however they need it, which I love the fact that that is on there. And I felt so ignorant after learning what I've learned that, because I've seen that on sites before, but I had no idea that that's what that was.
Oh, we're all over the place. This is the great thing, and something that really excites me. Like, having been in the military, like I know guns a little bit. We have some of the biggest firearm brands in the world. We have some of the biggest food brands, like Oreo uses accessiBe, Energizer, the batteries, like I think Similac, the baby food, like whatever you're looking for, you might find us. And we also have mom and pops. We have everybody across the board. So it is something that you'll notice more. And on that point, that whoever it is, most people won't pay attention, won't notice it, no problem. But if you need it, you'll see it. Yes. It's not just that. If you come into a website that has accessiBe and you have usually a screen reader or another assistive technology active on your computer, we'll identify that and actually send you a voice note saying, hey, you've entered an accessible website, hit Alt-1 to turn on the adjustments or whatever it might be.
Yes.
So we try to make it just as immersive as possible, because there's no reason to make things complicated, and there's no reason to, bug people about it that don't need to make any changes. But if you do need those adjustments, so we just immediately make those available for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so cool is because I had somebody say to me, well, like, how would they know? How would they know it was on the site? And they said, well, they have the equipment that picks up on it so that they do know. So it's interesting because if they're perusing websites trying to find a local body shop, they know immediately when they come to yours that you've gone the extra step and you're there to help them. I mean, I think that's just so cool. So cool.
Actually, on that, we don't just have a widget. We also do manual services, although in most cases for this industry, it's not really necessary. But we're coming out with Access Find. And this is we're super proud of it. It's a nonprofit initiative that we're doing in partnership with the Christopher Reeve Foundation, with the Viscardi Center, and several other disability-focused nonprofits. It's actually going to be the world's first search engine that only shows accessible results. Because one of the issues with Google, Thank you. It was not my idea by any means, but I will take all the credit. All of it. It was all Rafi, this guy.
Yes.
So one of the issues with Google, as if there aren't a million, is that if you search for something, you're going to get all kinds of results. And the vast majority of them are not going to be accessible because 98% of websites in the United States are nowhere near accessible right now. And for you or I, that doesn't really matter. But if you have a disability and you're searching on Google, it's very frustrating to go through one after another another and not be able to use it.
Totally.
So accessiFind is going to display only accessible websites, and all of our clients are automatically going to be on that list. And while that's a nice thing on its own, I want to point out that in SEO, which I know everybody who's listening to this has an SEO plan, right? If you're on Google, you're competing with every other body shop on earth. And certainly in your area.
Right.
If you're on accessiFind, you're competing with like 4 other body shops, and they're all Mickey's
in the
clients
country.
because nobody's accessible. So this is a great opportunity to capture a market that was previously actually not accessible to you.
Yes. Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Well, I feel like a lot of people this is going to spark a lot of people's interest. First of all, having been a shop owner, the second you talk to me about a lawsuit, I'm like, what do I need to do? Well, let's just deal with that right out of the gate. Because nobody wants one. And I feel like, especially in California, it's like one of the most litigious states ever.
Don't even get me started. But yeah.
Yes. So my clients in California all got a call of, we need to sign you up for this because they're just ambulance chasing. So I think first and foremost, for body shops listening, let's get you safe. Let's get you ahead of any issues and lock you in so that you are ADA compliant. But then, of course, I think equally, just in a different way, is being accessible for all people that need us. And we've gone through and we've made the changes within our shops. There has to be doorways certain size, the size of the restroom, parking spots, all of those things. So it's fun, it's safe, it's good for people with any type of ADA issue. So reflect that on your website by making the website ADA compliant. It just makes sense to me. Like, why not? Why not? Like you said, for $50 a month, give me a break. $50 a month. I throw vegetables away every month for like hundreds of dollars of vegetables we never eat. What's $50?
And at these prices, the last few weeks, probably more. But let's not
don't get me started on that.
Our supply chain. Yes. Another podcast.
Yes. So I think this is all awesome. Like I said, all the links are in the show notes. If you have any particular questions, can they reach out to you directly, Rafi?
You definitely can reach out to me. My email is Refael, Refael @accessiBe.com. It's the word access and then IBE.com. But if you need something urgently, or I'm not answering because of any reason, we have a great live chat on our website. There are always real human beings there, and they're very smart people. So they will be able to help you with whatever you need.
Nice. Okay. So I'll put your email down there just in case somebody wants to have a particular contact. And like I said, I'll put my link there, my affiliate link, so that you guys can click that and then sign up if you are interested in getting a subscription. Like I said, it's one of the things I love about this. And there are other companies out there doing similar things. But what I love about accessiBe is person-to-person contact when you have questions. The actual platform itself is so easy. As a shop owner, my shop owners just sign up for, or they'll give me the information. I'll sign up for them. I mean, it's so easy, like less than 5 minutes. You input a little bit of information in the back end of your website. Again, I can help you with that. Super easy, or your own website person can. And then that's it. That's all you have to do. And you're safe. And then it just, then you're just paying your $50 a month to just make sure you stay compliant. They send you all the reporting. And here's the kicker too, I want to make sure we discuss. If you were to get some type of demand letter, or somebody were to attempt to sue you for not being ADA compliant, accessiBe has a whole platform. So why don't you talk about that a little bit for people that if they are members of accessiBe and they get that demand letter, how does that work then with you? I'll let you speak on it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. We can't stop you from getting a letter, right? Yeah. Anybody can send anybody a letter because, again, the American legal system works perfectly all the time for everybody, especially in California.
Yeah.
Yay, America. So
Yay.
because of that structure, people get demand letters. They're not usually filed in court. Like Mickey mentioned, these people are ambulance chasers. That is the nicest word I am aware of for them.
Yeah.
They are looking for settlements, plain and simple. They want a settlement. Our clients don't pay settlements. Why? Because in the event that you get a demand letter, a lawsuit, a complaint, anything, you contact me or your account manager immediately. You send us the communication related to it, the documentation, the complaint itself, whatever you got. And we're going to do, number one, a screen recorded manual audit of the issue. Because when they complain about your website and say it's not accessible, they can't just say you have a trash website. They have to make a specific complaint.
Right.
They have to say, oh, there's no alt text on this image, or, oh, there's no ARIA label, whatever it might be. Right. Not to get too deep into the technical stuff.
Yes.
That, to be honest, I don't really understand that well either. But that's a separate. I am not the tech guy. Rest assured.
Yeah.
So in any case, we'll do an audit of that issue and screen record it so that you can show proof that, yeah, this is accessible. Then we're going to send you a overview of every aspect of how our system works. And we're going to send you a failures request master. This is just a big spreadsheet where the complainant can log and document any additional issues that they might want to bring up. And then we can address those the same way. Next, we're going to send you your statement of accessibility and your purchase invoice so you can prove when you became compliant and that you've remained that way.
Right.
And we're going to send you, finally, our form letter. We have used this form letter literally 5,000 times, and we have never had a client successfully sued due to use of our tool. The reason being, our letter is very aggressive, and we make very, very clear our clients don't pay settlements. We can prove accessibility to beyond a reasonable doubt. We can show you whether it's with user testing, whether it's with verification documentation, whatever it is. We're not just going to roll over and pay you a settlement.
Yeah.
And these people do not want to go to court. So generally their approach is, okay, move on to the next victim.
Yes.
Is it a scrupulous way to do business? It is not. But it is the way that they do business, sadly enough.
Yeah.
I will also add that lately, particularly in the last couple of months, having accessiBe on your website has become a lot like having the ADT flag on your lawn. That, no, it's not going to deter every last person who wants to bug you, but it's going to stop 99% of the people who want to bother you. And the few that get through, they're a little nuts and we'll sort them out.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I appreciate you saying that because I thought the same thing is, like you said, most of these people, they just want to get that quick check. They don't want to really deal with any problems or how they don't really want to sue you. They don't really want to go to court. They just want you to give them money. And so by having just that little guy on your website or the whatever icon you want to put on there, that alone, I'm sure of it, just dissuades people from pushing forth anymore. So
yeah. And I mean, 20 years of accessiBe is cheaper than one settlement.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then you have the benefit of helping the people that need it. So that's why I like it. You know, it's twofold. It protects you, but then it's helping at the same time. So it's kind of like for me, it's a no-brainer. So I thank you for talking about that. I thought that was important that we discuss because I love that. Like you said, anybody can get a letter, and the fact that you guys take it and basically kind of just handle it, and then you can push that right back to the person really just solves that problem because they just don't want to deal with it. So,
and it's included in the cost of every license, by the way. There's never additional fees when it comes to litigation support.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for noting that too. Very cool. Awesome.
Definitely.
Well, I appreciate it, Rafi. I think that's all the questions I have for now. But again, if you as shop owner, manager, whoever you are listening, have questions. And again, this is for every industry. So even if you're a dealership listening to this, if you're a paint company listening to this, if you're a doctor's office listening to this, and I have clients that are doctor's offices signing up for this also. I mean, really, whoever you are, this is something that can benefit you that you should really have on your website, like we talked about for all those reasons. So thank you, Rafi, again for coming on. I love your background. Great personality. It was so fun to have you.
Thank you. It was so nice to be here. This was much more fun than I thought. I'm just kidding. I thought it
Oh, God. Well, thanks everybody for listening. And again, all the information's in the show notes, and we'll see you next time on the Body Bangin' Podcast. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.